you wish that you didn't have to water your garden as much, and in some cases at all? This game-changing product, that is actually possible, and that what I have here is called Hydrotane. You may have seen it before in lawn care communities, but guess what? All of its ingredients are organic, and you can apply it to flowers and vegetables. Not many people know about this, and I really haven't seen any videos about this, so I'm just wanting to share this with you. That sure, you can use it on lawns. In fact, that's what I did as well, so I don't have to water as much. It can save quite a bit of money, and water is a precious resource. And the instructions for that are 9 ounces per gallon per every 1,000 square feet. But for the purpose of gardens, you can focus on these highlighted parts. First, it's made out of 4% humectant, 10% non-ionic surfactant, which is essentially soap, and 36% of inner ingredients. So the humectant is what helps to hold, is what allows us to work. This ingredient here, once it's down into the soil, acts like a water magnet. It helps to prevent water from evaporating. So, and it lasts for 3 months before it completely biodegrades. It is biodegradable. You do need to reapply it every 3 months if you do have a super long growing season, or if you also have a super hot area of your summer. That means it'll only last 3 months, so if your summer is like 4 or 5, you might have to reapply this once. It isn't cheap. You know, Hydrotane itself is like $55 a gallon, sometimes up to $65. You can also find the knockoff version of Bioadvanced Root Lawn Moisturizer. It doesn't say anything about plants, but you can also use it, because I found a couple bottles for $9 for 32 ounces, and it has the exact same ingredients. It looks exactly the same, and I believe it's literally the same product given to Bioadvanced for much cheaper. So I'm just saying that so you can save a lot of money, says I'm all about saving money as well. So for trees, shrubs, individual plants, 2 ounces per gallon of water. Same with plant or containerized plants, and also garden beds and in-ground beds. That's what you want to do, 2 ounces per gallon of water. And you know, a little bit goes a long way if you only have a garden and you live in an area where you get a decent amount of rainfall during the summer, such as places like the West Coast or even down in the South. Sometimes this will allow you to not even have to water at all. But really, this is an all water substitute. It even says right here on the label, up to 50%. So if you can get your watering down by, you know, at least to 1/3, up to 50%, hey, that is amazing. And I'm going to do a test here, so stick around so you can see the end of that test for the Hydrotane, and it'll really show how great it works. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to give one of these pots, it's both got 3 aster plants. I'm going to give one of these pots Hydrotane, which is going to be this one, because these leaves are already looking kind of crispy. They're kind of already looking down. But if the Hydrotane can have these plants survive longer than the control group, with no water, absolutely no water after I water it in, I have 2 ounces and 1 gallon of water, as you can see, kind of suds up. And the Hydrotane itself should look like a dark soy sauce color. Especially if you're buying it from Bioadvanced on Amazon or whatever, I'll try to leave links down in the description. What you want to do is you want to wait for your soil to dry out just slightly, because the more Hydrotane that the soil can hold on to, the better. And you want to see some of it also draining out the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and try to only get the soil. I mean, it's okay if you get the leaves too. Just go ahead and water it back in if you accidentally got the leaves or the flowers with the leaves. So you can see it's sudsing up. It means it's definitely in there. And then I'm going to wait and see if it starts draining out the bottom. Because if it does, then I will add a little bit more. Then I'll show you what I'm going to do. Some water's coming out the bottom. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to water this with the regular water. And then I'm just going to leave them right here on the patio, full sun, blasted by heat. These things will most likely shrivel up and die within the next week, but we should see updates probably around day 3, day 4 on how this one is doing, because I'm pretty sure that this control here, getting no water at all, is quickly going to struggle, heat up, and just die. And this is soil mix up, peat moss and compost, but this also works in in-ground beds, flower beds, and so on. This works for basically anything that has soil, because it will hold on to more moisture than is possible. So just with regular water and not adding this ingredient. So I'm going to see the difference between these. I'm going to go ahead and water this, and then I'll see you in probably 48 to 72 hours. So after 2 days, we can already see a difference. So this is approximately 48 hours later, and the one with the hydrotane, which I have marked, is still deep dark. Definitely is still very, very moist, while the one you can clearly tell a color difference. This is still moist, but it takes a little bit. It was a 90-degree day today, so it definitely dried out this top layer, but underneath it is still moist, so we will give it another couple days, but we can already see the hydrotane or the root soil moisturizer, whichever one you're using, making a very clear difference. This is a day 5 update, and we can definitely see some differences now. This pot without the hydrotane is actually starting to wilt, and if we dig down, it is pretty much dry all the way down now, except for maybe near the very, very bottom. As you can see, it's basically dry, got a pile of dirt. But if we look at the hydrotane one, it's still fairly moist, only about ½ an inch down. So you can see the color difference between what is this brown and powdery versus this slightly more damp peat moss and potting soil mix. So we definitely are seeing a difference still on day 5. So we have some definite results here. As we can see, this is like day 7 update, so it's been a full week. As we can see, the one with hydrotane, if we are to dig down about 3 inches or so, get really down in there, we can see that this is still clearly moist compared to this top layer, which is bone dry. But if we were to do the same thing, we can see that this is almost dust compared to the hydrotane. This one still has moisture holding it together, but this one is bone dry. As you can see, no clumping at all, and the plants are starting to wilt, turn crispy. So it's definitely a telltale sign that yes, the hydrotane does work. It doesn't replace your watering, but it can definitely reduce it by at least a quarter, probably up to a third in most cases. And if you live in the perfect environment, probably, as the description says, up to 50%. So I hope you liked this video, got something out of it. You can see why it is so beneficial for flowers and also vegetable plants as well. But if you like these dahlias, or you want to get triple the amount of blooms, you need to check out this video now, which goes into 2 secret ingredients that aren't so secret in order to get the best blooms and triple them.